And now, from Grid Square Echo Mike 48, this is 100 Watts and a Wire.
Well, hello and welcome to 100 Watts and a Wire. My name is Christian. My call sign is Kilo Zero Sierra Tango Hotel, and this is the intersection of life and amateur radio. Each week, we welcome our podcast listeners to join us for the live recording. That happens on Sundays at 6 o'clock Central, right here on YouTube. Everyone is welcome in the community. We'll take your questions from the chat, Facebook, Discord, and the 100 Watts and a Wire Zoom room, which I'm reminded I better get that up and running. The links are provided for you in the description of the podcast and in the description of this live stream. Steve is here, W7UDI. How's it going with you, Steve-O?
Oh, it's going, man. It's been just a crazy week, but glad it's Sunday. Got one more day off and then back to the grind.
Yes, sir. It got me for six. They got me for 6 days this week, but all the gigs are good and valuable, I think, to the people. They just, the week sort of smashed together, and I got out yesterday sometime in the evening, and I'm thinking, it's Friday, right? I picked up my youngest, and she's like, "No, Daddy, it's Saturday." I was like, "Oh, right." This is a really weird feel here. So anyway, welcome. Good to see you, Steve. It's been one of those kind of weeks, man. It's been nutty. And our boy Scotty is here, and we're going to bring Scotty in as well. He's KC3BXN. He does a lot of the behind-the-scenes work. He's interested in doing the video. He's helping now with video. He's becoming like this wizard. I think he's going for that I'm indispensable, bitches. And, like, you really need me now because the show is just a notch above suck until I get involved. You know, it's this whole thing. Actually, he never says a word. He's quite a kind man. What's up, Scotty? How are you, man?
I labor away quietly. I'm good. It's been an okay week for me this weekend. Finally got my brother on the air, and he's very excited. So that was the crown jewel in my week so far.
That is wonderful news because the star tonight, the star of the night, has to go to Steve, W7UDI. He has become, I know he's shaking for our audience, unless you can hear his old damn neck cracking. Click, 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 click. He's shaking his head. No, I'm not the star. I'm not the star. Yes, our motto is we need a 100 Watts and a Wire shirt that says suck less. Thank you, Big Ben. Kilo X-Ray 4 Tango
Exactly.
Quebec. We need to suck less is actually where we need to be in everything. But we dropped Steve's video. It's been in the working for a while. Steve produced the video about how to produce the double bazooka, the Bazooka. Did I mention that I've got a little vodka going through the old Polish boy? And these potatoes are, what are you going to do?
Potato squeezing.
I don't know what I just said, but Steve and I, we released, and Scotty released the double bazooka make and put it up on YouTube. Our members got a first taste. They got to nibble it first. Steve produced this video, put it together, and showed you how you can make a double bazooka antenna. Scotty then took it and then added some polish to it. He went over top of it and gave it his little love. He gave it a little love. I didn't ask what he did to your video, Steve, but, it came out looking all right. It was debauchery, but we kind of let him work over there in his deep, dark spaces. And it's now posted up on YouTube. Our members got a first glimpse of it, and the reaction has been really good. We let our friends know over at TikTok and Discord and Facebook. All our social media outlets were alerted, and we shared that with them about a day after our members got a first view of it. And some of the feedback has come back. Steve wants to just have the raw feedback, and we wouldn't just give you the good glory stuff, but most of it was very positive. Some are even asking, maybe we can try to put that up against a certain antenna. So let me go ahead and talk about that a little bit. We know Spike in Montana. He said, more of this, please. We've got Ed. He says, love your teaching style, Steve. He's WB5ORT.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, that's great, man. I gotta say, I'll let these fellas say it too, but I thought the way you laid this out you're clean. You know, a lot of people do their bench looks like, you know, it's crazy, right? You had everything laid out well. It looked great. Scotty was able to come in, you know, at certain spots to show your hands working and pull back out and show what the materials. It really was. You could tell that you have spent some time teaching people maybe in your work or whatever, and your teaching on the ham radio side is definitely able to be seen in this video. So anybody listening, hearing this now, check it out on the YouTube channel. Learn how to build this. Don't be afraid of it. We can talk more about this as we go along. Mark says, great job, Steve. We'll add this to the project list for next year. You've inspired somebody. He says, keep the videos coming. That's Mark.
Thanks.
November 9, Whiskey India Bravo. Carson, our friend up there in really cold, I think he was up in Connecticut. He used to hang out with us. We used to do a pre-show type of deal, Steve and I. But Carson, he's Whiskey Quebec 1, India. He said, thanks for the video, and 73 to you. Great video. James says he's Kilo Golf 5 Lima Tango Lima. You'll see him in our Discord group as well. Awesome video, Steve, says Moss. I don't know, his mate or Moss. You never know. The names get a little funny. Alpha Kilo 4, Romeo Juliet. Farmer Rex says, nice video, Steve. And let's see, Kevin says he's Kilo Charlie 3, Oscar November Oscar. Thanks for showing us. I'd love to see a comparison between this and the doublet fed with 4-inch open-spaced feeder or twin lead. And it says, Steve, have you ever ran a balanced feeder from the feed point to the balance studs on the tuner?
No, I haven't. I've always run unbalanced lines. I've thought about it, but it was, you know, just getting the balanced feed line into the shack. But there's other ways of doing that. So, yeah, I'll have to think about it.
In reply to Kevin, there was a little bit of a conversation. You know, you get a couple of, what's the old saying? You asked 10 hams for an opinion. You come up with however many other 30 other opinions.
Different opinions from the same 10 hams.
So Fiat Last says there would be no difference because they both are simply half-wave dipoles, just fed differently. One matched to coax, the other intentionally mismatched. And then, you know, so the great debate goes on with antennas, which is actually kind of cool. People are talking about it. Who else do we have here? We have Kilo 8 Delta Romeo Tango. Nice word, Steve. Nice work, Steve. The build,
Thank you.
I've built a few using only coax for the elements. It's supposed to have better bandwidth on lower bands due to a larger surface area. Using the shield as a radiator, I've not done any comparisons versus a dipole, but a little extra bandwidth on 75 and 80 is helpful for certain uses, I'd imagine, like anything else. Just fun to build stuff and see if it will work. And back to Fiat Last. It's F-E-E at last. You know, it's supposed to have better bandwidth. You know, basically, we mentioned this last week as well. This is a dipole antenna. It's a coaxial dipole. And I think you've laid out well what the benefits of this are. And you're welcome to address that here, Steve, the difference between a traditional dipole and a coaxial dipole. Go ahead and talk about it, Steve.
Well, the thing I noticed right off the bat after I built my first one, because I went in with no preconceived notions. I just heard about, this antenna is great, and it's, you know, the cat's meow, and it's like, oh, okay. Kind of like, all right, we'll see what happens. And I built it immediately. I noticed a drop in the background noise. I went 2 S units at least. So, and then I just went, oh, well, shoot, this is just like a loop antenna because it has a, you know, DC continuity. And so if anything, this antenna is what, you know, you'll hear referred to as a quieter antenna because it doesn't allow for that static buildup like your traditional dipole. Yeah, you can get low noise on a dipole if you're using a current balun or some balun at the feed point, and that kind of helps there. But if you make the standard dipole with no balun or anything, it'll be noisier if you take a coax, 8 loops of coax to make a simple choke. It'll still be a noisy antenna. It just and that's the benefit that I found over your standard dipole. But it's just a dipole. There's nothing more, nothing less. But it's just a different take of the dipole, and I think it has some great benefits. Plus, depending on the size of coax you're using, because you are radiating the shield of it, you now have some more bandwidth. The original design calls for twin lead at the end, and that increases your bandwidth. But for the sake of the build and the ease of building it, I chose just to go with a single wire, and a lot of people go with a single wire on the end. But, my video was just to show you one way of doing it. The whole point of the video is to get you to think about how to build one and put your spin on it. And that was the whole crux of the build, and to get you out there and building it. And it's not that hard. If people make it out there, oh, this is some kind of magical antenna and it's super hard to build, and only the washed can build it. The unwashed can't. And it's like, yeah, you can. It's not that hard.
Our friend Don, who's also a guest, he's a net control operator. He says, "Great job, Steve. Makes me want to build one, even if I can't deploy it." Smiley face emoji thingy. Thanks for sharing your wisdom. So there you go.
Deploy it on your POTA operations there,
right.
Don. So
That's
you
right.
don't have to do it. You don't have to. Scotty did it, and his brother, and Scotty will tell us about it later in the show.
No.
He certainly will. He won't even tell us later. He's going to tell us now. And I've seen some videos in the Discord. He was building. There's pictures in there on the Discord. Set it up a little bit for us. Your brother is a recently minted technician, and you knew about this contest coming along on 10 meters. It's still rocking and rolling as we're recording, or at least as we were earlier before we went to recording. Tell us a little bit about your brother and what you had in mind for him.
So my brother, KC3 UQL, Brian is his name. He got his tech license over the summer. Hasn't really gotten on the air yet. I'm still trying to help him get set up with the 2-meter rig at the house. He does play with the CB in his car, so I'm gonna put a vertical dipole, or I'm gonna have him put up a vertical dipole so he can run the CB at home. But I knew the 10-meter contest was coming up. Steve just dropped the double bazooka video, and I was like, man, this is a perfect opportunity to get my brother's hands dirty, get him building an antenna, get him on the air in his little technician sliver of the 10-meter band. So I went up to he lives about an hour away from me. Went up to his place on Friday night after work. Found a 20-foot roll of scrap RG59 quad 75 ohm video cable at the studio, and brought that up as the source for our build. We queued up Steve's video, and he was watching it, and I was watching it, and me and him built it together. I gave him some soldering tips and posted some photos of it on the Discord. And then I went home that night. We came back up to his place Saturday morning, and we hung it in the air. It was a little bit. The SWR was a little bit. We ended up making it a little bit too short. The SWR was just a touch high. I was like, it's only 2.5 to 1. I said the tuner and the radio. I brought my FT 450 up to use for the day. I said we can touch that up. And he's like, no. He was insistent. He's like, no, we got to make it right. That means we got to take it down and tweak it, right? And I'm like, yeah. Okay, let's do it. So down it comes, and I showed him how we can make a wire antenna. So we just lengthened the wire ends a little bit. And so using the wire nut, we can strip the end, twist the wire, and we threw it back up. And like, okay, now it's resonant too low. We're gonna start dropping it. We're gonna drop it down and start tweaking it little by little until we got it down to about 1.2 to 1. And I was like, that's good enough, man. Let's get on the air. And we threw it up.
1. Hey, now
stations were booming in. And my brother, I gave him a quick little rundown. He's watched me work some field days and stuff, and I've had him on the air under my call sign before he got licensed. And I said, this is your chance, man. I said, here's your frequency range, to 28.3 to 28.5 for his technician voice. And he was spinning the dial a little bit, and I said, that's a nice station. Why don't you go for it? And his very first contact under his own call sign was a station in Brazil during the 10-meter contest. So.
Showing off.
Nice.
And then right after that, he bagged a guy in Argentina, and he was just, his face lit up. He was shaking. He was almost crying with joy. He was so excited. And I said, "Yeah, I got you now. You're trapped for life."
Gotcha.
Dynamite!
Gotcha.
So I left my rig up there. He was all day today on and off the radio. He's texting me. He's like, I just got somebody in Wyoming. He was having fun on his own, just playing in the contest in between chores
And
at
he
home
built
today.
his own antenna.
Built his own, and he just couldn't believe it. He built his own antenna. We tuned it, put it up, and got on the air. And his first contact was in Brazil, and he just was floored. It was great. It was a great day.
Great. You're inspiring people. See that, Steve? It's got to feel good.
Awesome. Oh yeah, I saw the picture and I just was ecstatic to see it, and I saw it on the Discord group. So if you haven't been there, think about joining us in the Discord group, and you can see some of the pictures that were posted. But it was awesome to see the build, and then hung in the trees and up, and it was only up 15 feet, so
15 feet,
not bad at all.
About a halfway point. That's where it should be.
So you did
Perfect.
a different variation of the centerpiece there. You used PVC. Were you grabbing and going with what you had? You were just kind of, that's what I did. I ended up using something different.
Yeah. We just went with what we had. He had some scrap PVC stuff in his garage, and we used the I think it was a half or a 3/4 inch PVC T fitting, and then some paracord just looped through it as a hanger, and I had my my little arborist's weight that I used to get antennas up, and we found a spot in the yard and tossed it up, got it up about 15 feet, and figured out how to tie the ends off to some adjacent trees, and away we went.
Nice.
It was a piece of cake.
It's so awesome.
Great, and the
awesome.
antenna worked so well. Like I got home, I got my 8010 end fed hanging out the window up in the tree, and I'm not hearing squat on 10 meters here on where I'm at. But he's like, he's got his double bazooka in his tree in the front yard, and he's pulling in international stations at 5.9 like all day. It's like, wow, man,
That's crazy.
good deal.
That's crazy.
Great.
So we've got a bit of a challenge. I guess the question is, what's next, Steve-O, with the build? What should we build next? Because I hoarded the video, not very long though, but he sent the video to me on a thing, and I was like, oh, look at that. Look at that. Next thing you know, I'm addicted. I'll do 2 of them. I'm out there hanging and pulling the ropes, and then Scotty gets the video, and he's like, I've got a plan for it too, a capital idea. I'm going to do this. And then we sent it out to our members and then out to everybody. So what do we build next? Do we want to compare and contrast?
Sure yet, but one thing I do want to cover is proper sealing of coax connections. We've talked about it over the course, and I talk about the 3-step process that I use, what I've been using professionally and here at home. And I'm kind of thinking that would be a next video to go through and go through the steps. And I got an old connection that from an old antenna that was taken down. It's been in service probably 30 years or something. It was the end of the hard line was cut. It's the pigtail is still sealed up, so I think we'll do a video of it, opening it up, and see if it was properly sealed. Basically, a connector unboxing, and if it was sealed up properly, you'll see the benefits. If it wasn't, you will see the disaster that it will become. So I'm kind of thinking of that, but I'm also interested in what people would like to see. It's one thing for me to come up with something. It's another thing. What would you like to see on a build? And I'll attempt it, try to put something together for you, and we'll go from there. And I'll put my spin on it, and we'll go from there. One of the things after it went to the members in the Discord group, there was the talk about because everyone was kind of balking at this kit, the DX Engineering kit, but and that's what I use. I just kind of I liked it. It was something I had at the time, and it's just been successful for me. but which I've never thought was the use of those, go down to the dollar store and get one of those cutting boards and cut it up. So I'm thinking of kind of using this as a template and
Right.
maybe cutting up, coming up with a, cutting up basically a, dollar store cutting board and making a centerpiece and some insulators and maybe even throwing a video of that so people can kind of get an idea. I already have it in my head.
By the
just
way,
a jigsaw.
I think I love that tee. And there's been some conversations going on in Discord about that tee. The tee I love, right? But they've made that pack to build maybe multiple different variety of antennas, right? So the tee really is what I needed from it. Even the end insulators, they're not my favorite. No shade to DX Engineering. I think that tee is great. I actually think it could be modified a little bit. And I asked this week, is that who's out there making this sort of, what do they call the 3D printers? Like, I think for what this centerpiece support system, because I think it's a great support, they're selling, I think people were kind of like, wow, $23, $24. And really all I really wanted was that tee. I think that could be modified. I ended up using like a guy ring on the second one because I didn't have a second tee to use. So I think the kit is good. I love the tee of the kit, but the kit's a little too big. They might do better selling just individual insulator and the end pieces for much less money. But if not, maybe we'll do that and modify the whole damn
and plus
thing.
you got all this stainless steel hardware that's in the kit that you're getting with it that you're not using. This is, I've built regular dipoles with this same kit, and what's kind of nice about it with the holes that are in here. I mean, move this over a little. You can see the 3 holes there. Is that you just kind of lace your wire through it, and it just supports it. So it's pretty ingenious, and learning to use there's a kind of a trick on how to use these insulators and how to wire it. This paperwork that's in here is full of just tons of information. So, I mean, it's a pretty, inclusive kit. And for me, I love stainless steel hardware and saving it. I always save it. So
for sure.
If you don't, so yeah, there's that. There's another one that Mark brought up in the Discord group. There's a $70 version of this, but it has a pigtail that's already made. It's sealed up. It has a strain relief setup. I mean, so you can get whatever you want, but I kind of like the idea of maybe with the cutting board, and this is, what Paul came up with, Uncle Paul, and he made his centerpiece out of the cutting board from a dollar store. It's like, well, why don't we just take one of these tees, use it as a template, and then we'll just cut out it on one of those cutting boards, and now you have a pretty good center section.
Yeah, I feel
the cutting
like
boards are nylon, right? The dollar store cutting boards.
They're nylon or Teflon or something like that.
Yeah, like 1/8 or 1/4 inch thick. Yeah.
I feel like I should probably not be getting involved in that, like circular saws or whatever saws. I mean, straight pieces of wood, lumber, maybe, but like anything. I'm going to make a tee here, everybody. No,
but
run
PVC
for your life.
pipe,
Stand back.
Same thing. I mean, you can do it with PVC pipe, and Scotty did it with his brother. So I mean, anything. Just think about it. Just know the limitations of that, where your weak point is, and then just beef it up. And whatever you have laying around, it doesn't matter. You don't have to go this. This is just my spin on it. Not
right. No, I like it. I still like that tee, and the hardware is good. I love the tee. It's all good. And I was talking to James, Kilo Golf 5, Lima Tango Lima, and I was just giving him some of my thoughts on, that tee, and then what maybe could be modified. We don't even need all the holes in that tee design. He's got a 3D printer. We'll see what's happening. He's kind of working up some stuff there, so we'll see.
Nice. Cool.
Anyway, thank you all for participating and checking out Steve's video. We're willing to explore other how-to types of things. This is a weekly show where we talk about it, bring our community together, and so the how-to type of stuff, that's all right. We can explore that. Let's take a look at some radio history. This is going back into the olden days when me and Steve were just little shorty pants wearers, and Scotty was a gleam in our daddy's eye.
Yeah, Scotty was just
1877.
a swimmer.
He was coming around, and we were like, oh, another son? Come on, Ma. Dang. Yep, we have 3 different daddies. But you look, we're all related. It's all good. It all worked out in the wash. But some time ago, in 1877, Ernest Werner von Siemens. What a transition to Mr. Siemens' work. He patents the first loudspeaker. Thank you, Mr. Siemens. Now, as many more times as I can say Siemens on this show, that would be great. I wish we had 3 other inventions by Ernest Werner von Siemens.
Oh,
We probably
there's
have
plenty others.
a fourth brother out there. But we'll talk about him much later. 1901, Marconi receives the first transatlantic wireless signal. And in 1960, the laser is invented by Theodore H. Maiman at the Hughes Research Laboratories. The laser was then used in Philadelphia to try to blind opposing players and sports teams and then things and the law of it, all that. But 1960, Steve, is when all that went down. Well, thank you very much for this week in history. Oh, now we got to turn it over to their broadcast announcer, Mr. Heliax, to introduce Scotty. Kilo Charlie 3 Bravo X-Ray November, baby. This is Heliax, baby. Going to give you do the bump over to Scotty to tell you about the events, y'all.
Thanks, Mr. Heliax. What do we got going on?
What's
We got
happening?
December 17th, the Radio Amateurs of Canada Winter Contest, CW and phone. That's happening next weekend. The December 24th through the 31st. That's the QRS Christmas activity, CW version, sponsored by the CW QRS Italia Group. We've got a couple special event stations as well. December 17th through the 24th. It's Christmas in Bethlehem, New Mexico. KC5 OUR will be doing a special event station out of Peralta, New Mexico. December 16th is National Wreaths Across America Day. Special event station Whiskey One Alpha out of Millbridge, Maine will be doing that. And that's what I dug up with for what's happening this coming week and weekend.
Thank you, Scotty. And a reminder, if you find
Yes.
value... Oh, what you said? What you got?
Oh, we also have the SantaNet, on 3916. That's going on. So get your grandkids in there and they can talk to Santa Claus.
For sure. That's such a great service those hams are doing there. 3616 every night, I think, begins at 7 o'clock Central
3916.
Time. What is it? 3916?
3916.
What did I say? 59?
3616.
Did I mention... Did I mention I've got a lot of problems?
Just not 3860.
We don't want to go into that. Yeah, 3860, whatever. You'll hear it. Check it out. Steve's got you. If you find value in the 100 Watts in a Wire, you can support the content and the community you enjoy by visiting buymeacoffee.com/100watts. You can simply buy us a cup of coffee or consider the benefits of a monthly contribution. The dipole level, our dipole level, is just $1 per episode. So if you find enough value for $1 an episode, $4 a month, check into that. Some members enjoy early access to content like Steve's video build. Again, visit buymeacoffee.com/100watts today. And thank you. We have a couple of new supporters that we'll talk to. I hate to even bring down the sexy music, but I will go ahead and do that. Randy Kilo 5, Romeo Hotel Delta, and November 4, Echo Juliet Mike. And they are supporting the content and the community they enjoy. We thank you for your contribution to 100
Thank you,
Watts
guys.
and a Wire.
Thank you
you
so
all
much.
very much. So we've opened this up to questions across our social media platforms. We pride ourselves in trying to get you the most accurate information. Scotty says the interwebs is full of misinformation and things that you just can't believe most of the time. And in terms of amateur radio, we want to at least give you some experience. Steve's experienced. I've only got a decade in, but I've definitely been tapped into him for a long time and have my struggles and experiences. Scotty's got a full background. We all have careers, and we're trying to blend the intersection of life and amateur radio to help our community. If you have a question tonight, put a Q in front of it, and we'll load it up, and we'll try to get to some of them as we go along. So I guess we can start looking at some of that, the different things that are going on in terms of what you guys were up to. I had nothing going on amateur radio related this week. My work, shall I say, kept me away from doing anything ham radio related. It sounds like some folks were out there doing their 10-meter work. Steve, did you get on at all this week, or did you have any time to operate?
No, I haven't had any time. I've had some long nights or long days. Tuesday the week started off for me, and it was a long day. And then Wednesday was a 16-hour day, and I got home about 10 o'clock. It started at 6, and I got home at 10. So that was a long day. And then Friday was another long day. That was about 11 or 12-hour day. And then the weekend, I was helping getting some voters rebalanced down at our local 911 center. We were having some issues there, so taking care of that. So it's been and then dealing with the snow. And Friday night, we started getting dumped on. So Saturday morning, a couple hours on the tractor and plowing and shoveling and plowing and, the usual stuff. And it just didn't have a chance to really spend any time on the radio other than this afternoon. And I just came across the Kennedy Space Center special event station and till the Collins net decided to start up 1 kilohertz away.
No.
I was like, what? just blasted those poor fellas. And it was just, I was a little just shaking my head, but it happens. It's, all part of ham radio.
10 meters has been super sexy this weekend. When I turned it on, I was like, wow, it's really clear. It sounds great. A lot of international stations. Scotty, did you get to work? You got to spend time with your brother, build an antenna, hang it, get him all jazzed up and leave him there in his own mess. What was your ham radio week like? Sorry, man. He was very excited.
Yeah, he was excited to because I told him that we should build this antenna and participate in the 10-meter contest, and so he was pretty stoked about that. And so I found the stuff at work, some coax, and then we found the PVC and stuff at the house. And Friday night I didn't get on the air at all when the contest started. We were building the antenna. I went back up to his place in the morning on Saturday, got it on the air, and I worked, I probably worked 10 or 15 stations while I was there. Then we had to go do some grocery shopping for Mom. So my mom lives with my brother in the in-law suite in the basement. And we got back from the grocery store, and it was starting to get dark, and the band was starting to fizzle out a little bit. But then he got back on today, and was texting me all day. He's just rocking. He's just so into it. He was out in the garage with my old radio, and he's just hammering away at it.
So let me ask you, what's your brother's skill set when it came to, electronics or mechanical skill sets? How, describe, was he really intimidated by this or just really open to it?
No, he was really open to it. He cuts custom lenses for an eyeglass doctor. And so he's had some experience repairing the cutting machines, and he used to do custom contact lenses. And then he just got an old tractor that he's been tinkering with. And so he's not scared to get in there and get his hands dirty. He doesn't have much electronics experience, but he's certainly open to giving it a try, and not scared to, get his fingers smelling like chicken.
Yeah, just
Okay.
remind him if it smells like
Agree.
chicken, you grab the wrong end of the soldering iron.
We want to get to your questions
fun.
here. We got a lot of questions coming in from our live chat. Everybody's welcome to join us Sunday, 6 o'clock Central. Listening to the podcast, stop on by. We're on YouTube, and we live stream it out, capture, and send it to audio. We have a lot of questions to get to on this recording, so we want to get to that. There cannot possibly be any more Hamfest at all. Everybody has to be packed up for the year. I mean, come on, right? This is just music bed. This is dance party time, right, Scotty?
Wrong.
Oh,
I found one Hamfest that's happening in the southern states, obviously, because that's where it's warm.
Florida.
This is the Minden Amateur Radio Association Christmas Hamfest in Minden, Louisiana, is happening on December 17th.
Nice.
well, dang, you
That's
dig
the
them
only one.
up. You dig them up. And we want to let you know we do have an events tab and a channel, rather, on our Discord. And if something's going on, you've got a Hamfest, your club's doing something special, let us know so we can announce it. Scotty digs deep to find this stuff. And you can help let us know, and we'll be happy to promote it. I don't know why his fingers smell like chicken. That's a whole different thing. But we'll inquire about that at HR in our weekly meeting on Monday. And to learn more about 100 Watts and a Wire in our community, visit 100wattsandawire.com. You can check out the podcast archive. You can get your own 100-watt ID. Over 5,000 people have 100-watt IDs at this point. And you can pick up your 100 Watts and a Wire sweatshirt, your stickers, your mug, and other
I'm not
merchandise
wearing it tonight.
in the shop. But still a very fine sweatshirt you've got on there. You will have our links to social media are there as well. It's sort of a hub. That's 100wattsandawire.com. Okay, there we go. Let's get to some questions, y'all. I think we want to do that. And immediately following the recording of the podcast this week, another live stream will take you into live coverage of the Sunday Evening Net. And so stick around for that. Let's answer some of the questions from the folks that are here this evening. And question from Big Ben, Kilo X-Ray 4, Tango, Quebec. He did the proper procedure. Pastor Joe did not. I think he's pushing the buttons just to see how far the faith will go before, we lay a verbal smackdown on Pastor Joe for not putting a Q in front of his question. We're supposed to dig around in all his rantings. Come on now. Big Ben wants to know, what are you drinking tonight? Who would like to go first?
I am drinking a space dust. So let me get in here because what's the label of good old microbrews, and it's just the hops that it is puking. So it's Elysian. It's a local brewery in the Seattle area. So picked up some space dust IPA.
Very nice. I am going to go with the H2O. This is something that comes out of the earth, filterize. It's good for you. Before that, Moscow Mule.
Nice.
Two of them. So yeah, now it's a water chaser and two Moscow Mules before that. Scotty, what you got going over there?
I'm very exciting. I'm drinking my Coca-Cola zero sugar, no calories.
Nice.
We are not sponsored by any of those products.
Any of them.
Especially water. Water won't even have us.
Especially water.
But there you go, Big Ben. Pastor Joe did have a question about the double bazooka. He said it would be great for POTA. Steve, can you use it as a sloper?
Sure. Yeah, you can use a dipole as a sloper, so yeah, why not? It's I haven't done it, but hey, let's try it. Maybe I'll try it. I'll build another 40, and I got a spot up on the top of the tower and an arm that's free, and let's put it into a sloper config and try it out on 40 meters.
How, if I can ask in the spirit of Pastor Joe, how in the name of Jesus would you take a center-fed dipole and make it a sloper?
You're just hanging it from the top and then just 45-degree angle. So, and then you just bring the,
Well, wouldn't your coax, though,
like
the center field have to, your center point
you
have
kind of
to
have
go
to
cockeyed
support
too?
it. Get a little creative.
Okay.
But
All right, I'd like to see that, Pastor Joe. So if you wouldn't mind building one and hanging it as a sloper, that'd be cool.
hell yeah.
Yeah.
Another question, would Flex Seal tape work as a replacement for the butyl tape that's easier to come by?
Yeah, probably. I mean, I haven't tried it. I'm not saying it's would be that difficult, but you can get rolls of butyl on Amazon for like $11 for a 30, about 3/4 of an inch wide, about I think 30 feet long. It's we'll throw out a link in the on the Discord, and then you can get it right off Amazon. I found it. It's the real deal, the butyl. So it's not that hard to get, but you know what? Flex Seal would probably work.
Okay. Survey says yes. Answer is good. Pro tip: the butyl gets on your fingers. Be careful around the when you got the on the thing. It's very sticky on it.
Yes, I mean butyl's great to work with when it's cold. It's but when it gets warm, it gets pretty sticky.
Gets pretty sticky. Be careful
any
If
shrinkage
you're
when
worried
it's
about it,
cold?
remember to glove up. So
there's residue on the butyl, so just
Yes,
be
there
careful. Those of you who like to go ahead and you know what I'm saying. Okay. Another question: Epic DX rag chews with groups and recurring old rigs, especially Tentex and my new fangled Flex 6400 using Ethernet protocols. I'm looking for the question. I'm not sure I see a question. I may have picked something up here. Instead of serial USB port nonsense, ladder line fed dipoles and loops with a manual tuner. Yes, indeedy doodle. I guess that was just a comment. I don't know. Maybe I may have butchered that. Maybe I grabbed that. The answer is yes. So there you go. That's the answer. If you have a question, put a Q in front of it in the chat. I don't know. Did I mention the vodka's made with that Polish potato thing and taps right into my roots? I'm not sure why I picked that up. Here's another question coming from one of our socials from Craig. Can you recommend a trapped fan dipole? By maker?
Don't know if anyone that makes them commercially. I mean, it could be, but I know you can get traps out there and make them. It's so you can buy the traps. I know they're available, but I personally don't know who makes them commercially. There probably is an antenna manufacturer out there, and I just don't happen to know about it right off the bat. I'll have to look into that and see if anyone has one.
Good deal.
I think maybe MFJ might come. Let me double check.
They may have an 80 meter trapped. I don't know about a fan dipole though.
I don't think on the fan dipole, but
definitely a trap.
I think they have an 80-40 trapped
For sure.
antenna.
Yep. For sure. Absolutely.
So what the trap will do is, oh, there goes the camera. What the trap will do is create will stop the 40-meter signal at where the trap is. So basically, it will look like as far as the 40-meter the radio on 40 meters will look like a standard 40-meter dipole, but physically it's longer. Will look like, it's actually physically an 80-meter dipole with this trap in the middle. Just kind of stops the 40-meter signal at the 33-foot mark, essentially. So, but there are probably a few out there that make a 80-40 trap, and there might be some others, but I don't know about fan dipoles. You would have to roll your own, and there you go, another homebrew project.
That might be a good one. There is a company called NI4L. It's a company. They're not a sponsor, but I've received antennas from NI4L, and they're really strong. Great builds. And one year I got a fan dipole, and this is going way back to 2015, and it was for 40. Actually, it was set out in a bow tie configuration, and 40 was flat topped, and 20 came down as the inverted. Unless I'm getting this wrong, but I had two bands with one center fed piece, and it was made by NI4L, and it was really nicely made. I was too dumb in the process and got it caught up in this oak tree too close to the trunk. It got caught up. I pulled on it too much, and it was just a mess. Anyway, but they make stuff like that. They may even make I don't know about the trap. MFJ makes a trap. Check ni4l.com. It's in North Carolina. And see, his name is Chris. And tell him Christian sent you just to ask the question and see what you think about that, Craig. They make really strong antennas. Thank you for a couple questions that came through. Put a Q in front of them, though. It's easier for Scotty to grab. I see a couple of them coming into the chat. And we'll move on to another one that came through. What length works best for an end-fed half wave to get 10 through 80 with a 9-to-1? Good answer.
There's multiple lengths, and that's the key. And go to Palomar Engineering. I think it's palomarengineering.com, or just look up Palomar Engineering. They make antennas, and then through their website, look up under antennas. They talk about of the right lengths for various, you want to work these bands. Well, these are the lengths that you'll need. Also, you can search on the internet to find the length. 67, 135 feet. Those numbers kind of pop into my head. I'm thinking 135 might, let's see, an end-fed halfway. The 135 definitely will work for 80 meters, and it should work all the way up to 10. So at least 135 feet will get you on that, just off the top of my head. But there's other lengths out there that will work.
Okay. Thank you for that question. I appreciate that. Another question from the chat. Do any of you have experience running an end-fed half wave horizontally? Scotty, is that you?
No, I have mine as an inverted V configuration.
Oh, okay, inverted V. How about you, Steve? Have you done that with an end-fed half wave?
No, I have those. That's one antenna I haven't built yet, and it's something it's in the works to get the 9-to-1, 49-to-1 balance, and try working on a few of them. So, but they've become quite popular antennas, and a lot of people are using them with a lot of success.
Another question:
If I had
why
the room to try it? I would, but I don't have the room to try it horizontal, or I would. That's why I have to have it in inverted V.
Right on. That's probably a video series. We could try to do some sort of thing where you just see how it works, see how it plays, pass it around, see how it does for different type of people. Why would you trap a fan dipole? Isn't that the beauty of a fan dipole? Multiple wires?
True. I mean, other than you want to, probably the easiest, if you had a trap dipole and then added a 20-meter wire onto it, you can, in essence, get 4 bands out of it. And you're like, what? You can get 80, 40, 20, and 15, because 15 is basically 3/4 waves on 40 meters. So with a 20-meter wire, so you'd have like a 2-wire fan dipole, and you can probably get 4 bands out of it. So
okay,
that's one option.
Put a Q in front of your question. That way we can pull it out a lot easier than going through the scroll. John asked, I was told that the best height for 20-meter dipole was a half wavelength, but today I was told it should be 70 feet.
That's getting close to, I mean, halfway. For horizontal antennas, height above ground will affect your takeoff angle, and half wavelength will give you about a 24, 23 degree takeoff angle. Once you get up to full wavelength, which is going to be close to 70 feet, that's going to give you that will bring down your takeoff angle, but it will also add some other lobes that will have some effect. But if for DX, yes, having it higher, it brings your angle, your takeoff angle much lower, and then it increases your DX capabilities. But just get it up as high as you can with what you got at your situation.
Get it up as high as you got.
As you can. high, fly it proud.
Fly proud. Another question that came across: best way to hold a frequency when you're running low power. Ron would like to know.
Ooh. Making contacts. If if you got people, if you're running like a parks on the air, one of the ways that keeps a person holding a frequency is all these people are calling you, and so if you can kind of create a stir, or you can create some excitement there a little bit, that you've got people calling you, that's going to hold the frequency, because some people might not hear you and then just start operating, but they'll be hearing the other people calling and talking to you and stuff like that. And then it's like, oh, all the frequencies in use, and they'll spin the dial and go somewhere else.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Got that one. If you have a question, put a Q in front of it. As we are here live with you this evening, we'll try to answer any questions you may have. David asked, how far does 20-meter ground wave go? Was hearing a guy about 5 miles away on 20 this afternoon. Cannot be NVIS, could it? I have an end-fed half-wave wire in slope. Hope to hear Steve later.
It will vary. I mean, it could be 5 miles, maybe 10 miles, but it's not going to be very long. I mean, it's going to be, you got to be fairly close. But I've worked a few guys locally here in the Kittitas Valley on ground wave on 20 meters, but nothing beyond that. So 15, 20 miles at best. And they were pretty weak.
All right. We have a room for another question, maybe another one from the chat. If you'd like to ask anything regarding life and amateur radio, put a Q in front of it. We'll pull it. And I'd love to do a whole show just on questions, taking questions like the old car talk.
Yeah.
Amateur radio talk. We just ding
ding
ding ding ha ha ha. It's your muffler. We can do that. So send in your questions either live or on our socials. We'd love to be able to help you. Let us know what you're struggling with, what you'd like to learn about, and all the contact information is in the description. Here's another question from Jason. Does weather like snow, rain, and wind affect SWR?
It can. Yeah, it depends on the antenna build, and it could have an effect. Not always, but I've seen and heard that people have had SWR issues when the antenna gets wet, and I've just always equated it to the build of the antenna. I mean, if most antennas won't change much. I mean, you get snow buildup on it, it's gonna probably have some effect, but for the most part it shouldn't, but it does.
Okie dokie. Thank you very much for the question. You're welcome to join us over in the Zoom room. We do have a 100 watts and wire Zoom room where you can actually call in live. We usually move so quickly, I don't do it too much during the show, but we may be able to do some of that. We'll see. And definitely in the post coverage of the Sunday Evening Net. Let's see here. Another question. Best place or app to learn Maurice code? Bit of a spelling error there.
Maurice.
That could have been me. Maurice is a whole different guy. He works down in the city for the city. Morse code. Best place to learn it.
I don't know personally what the best app is, and because I haven't tried it, but I've heard of, these, was it Morse University or something? Or there's some, I think there's a
It's the Long Island.
Long Island.
It's the Long Island CW Club, I think it's called.
Yeah, that they do an online, and I think those are the best. There's others out there. There's I have a friend of mine, Bill K5LN. He did some online teaching of Morse, and I think that's the best way. Is that now you're into a kind of a one-on-one. I mean, there's probably lots of apps out there that can kind of help you and stuff like that. But I found for me, when I learned the code, I did it with an instructor and in a kind of a classroom environment, and it kind of worked out. And then the instructor was able to kind of change and kind of just go along with the group. And so if the group was really progressing in one area, could speed it up. If we were struggling in another area, they were able to kind of slow things down. And I think that's the best learning environment is, so check out like the Long Island CW Club. There's other online resources out there to learn Morse code and get your code up.
All right. A couple minutes left here. Let's see. We can go over to the Zoomy Roomy. Our friend in Colorado is usually good for a laugh. Let's see if he can hear us. David, how are you, sir?
Silence. Crickets.
Silence. He might have fell asleep. I might have gone to the Zoomy a little too late. David, are you there? David. That's one too many gummies. Now rub your belly. Rub your belly.
He is in Colorado. So.
He is in Colorado. There he is. What's up? Let's hear you, buddy. You got a comment or a question real quick? We're getting ready to head on home for our podcast listeners. How are you?
Well, I screwed up. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
No, you would never screw
All
up.
right, just checking.
Never.
Well, I screwed up, Alex Trebek. I did not form my statement in a question.
Yeah.
Damn it all.
So we got about 2.5 minutes to give you the business. It's okay.
Yeah, Sherry.
Were you able to catch...
I'm ex-Catholic. I'm ex-Catholic. I can do that crap.
Yeah, you're used to it. You probably have the divots on your wrist from the rulers.
From the nuns.
Yeah. No, I escaped that, but barely.
I did too.
I had to keep my grades up, or I was threatened with going to Catholic high school.
Right on. Hey, did you get to see Steve's sidecar double bazooka antenna video? And what'd you think?
Yes, I did. That was really cool. And yes, in your high wind areas, the double bazooka makes a hell of a lot more sense than a cage dipole.
Oh, yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so, and I mean, yeah, I know I get a little wacky on here and I get stupid on Zoom, but I join up with other Zoom groups, and it's just a little different. Actually, Christian, or one of you, or all three of you, maybe I should send you a link to one of the Zoom groups that I hang out with. And there's a YouTube video. You wouldn't be in the group, but you can see the way they manage multiple people. And honestly, I think it'd be really cool if there were more folks in here. And you just mute yourself and raise your hand, and you can do it with the reactions button if you've got something to say, right? So,
Well, how about this? Since you're always around, David, you're always around, and you're a friend of the show, and you've been around with us, we'll just put you in charge. This is how I do things around here. Look, how do you think I found Scotty? Scotty was walking around the streets of Ellicott City talking about
Mumbling to myself.
talking about reel-to-reels, and I'm like, you're perfect. Let's go. So, yeah.
And we're just trying to keep him out of the Browns.
No, well, there are places like that in Colorado and certainly in Minneapolis where I grew up. Now, Scotty, I got a quick question for you, since you're all into magnetic recording back in the day. Do you remember a company called Nortronics in Golden Valley, Minnesota?
Nortronics? No, I'm not familiar.
Okay, well, when I got out of college and I moved back to Minnesota, it took me a few years to get a real job in electronics. They were a maker of they were a manufacturer and distributor of all kinds of magnetic recording heads, but it was a very interesting job. I was there until they laid a bunch of us off because the Japanese company Alps bought them out. And I worked in quality control in a company that unfortunately that had issues with quality and very little control. But I learned a lot about magnetics and all sorts of tape deck heads, and I used to work on the big 3M heads for those great big decks. They were about this tall for like 16 track decks, and they would go all the way down to about hurts on the lap.
The-
I mean,
we
it
have
was
a
unbelievable.
at work. We have a 1974 3M M79 16 track 2-inch, and is by far my favorite machine that we have there. Transformer inputs and outputs.
know
the
that
thing is, the thing sounds like God itself.
Hey, look,
Oh,
this
yeah.
is so great. I wish we had the Steve. I wish we had the Oscar music to play these guys off. Like, wrap it up, everybody. Let's wrap it up now. There's your
no.
cue. You hang on, David. We'll catch you in the poster. Jesus H, what the heck was going on there, Steve? Just playing. Hey, we're gonna get somebody in charge of the Zoom room. That would be
Zoom
cool.
room.
I have to
Pastor
talk about
Joe?
it more. Then we can get more people involved over there, take live calls and all that sort of thing. I just want to say thank you to all the folks who are listening to us. Thank you for your support ongoing each week. We get a little bit more love. We appreciate you. The buymeacoffee.com/100watts is working well. The members, all that sort of thing is going great. If you find value in it, think about us. And look, we're almost there. It's almost holiday time. I may be doing some more of these crop up streams. I got 3 more days, y'all. Get to Wednesday and just keep my nose clean so I don't have to think about anything else or any stress to the beginning of the year. Then we'll be good. Live coverage is headed your way for our friends on YouTube. For our podcast audience, this is where we say goodbye. A wet, sloppy kiss from me first, then on to Steve, and then I guess Scotty. I just don't look back. I don't know what happens at that point. Steve, W7UDI, thank you in 73, my friend.
7-3, Christian.
Scotty, we thank you for all your work on the show. KC3BXN, say hello to your family. Hope your mom is doing okay and they push through this Rona crap and make a lot of contacts on the 10 meters. Thank you for your work, sir.
Pleasure as always, sir. Thank you. 7-3.
73 to everybody. New stream starting up. Check on the YouTube for the link there. We'll see you all very soon.
I just put it in the chat for the net.
Awesome. Thank you. 73, everybody. Take care of yourselves and each other. And by all means, please try to stay above the noise.
To join the 100 Watts in a Wire community, visit 100wattsinawire.com.